Hello dear, welcome to another practical session of our JavaScript tutorial. In today's practical session, we're going to be looking at dealing with forms. So I'm going to open my project in my VS Code. And then what I want to do today, if you look at this is our last practical where we build a simple, um, calculator that sums two numbers and then returns an output for you. Okay, but today we're gonna be creating a new file, and I'm gonna save it as a form. So I'm gonna save it as form.html, and what I want to do is just to demonstrate working with forms, right? Okay, so next is my body, my head, right? Then my title, my title. So I'm just gonna call this a simple form. So I want to just show you how you can have a form, retrieve data from the form, send it to the server. But in this example, we're gonna be working with an array or a JSON or array of objects. We either work with an array, an object, or arrays of what? Object. Okay, so again, I'm gonna include my my W3 CSS, which I already have, and I'm still gonna include this same JavaScript file, so I can create more functions in this same JS. So you can have one JavaScript file with what? Multiple function, and those functions all doing a ton of different um, activities or functionalities. Okay, so I'm gonna bring in my body, and what I want to have now is that I want to have a centralized form, a form, and then a table, and then once you fill the form and submit, then it populates the table, right? So now what I'm going to do now is to have a container like this, right? Then I'm gonna set the width, because I want to centralize this container. I'm gonna use inline CSS now. I'm gonna set its margin to 0 auto, like this. Then I'm gonna send its width to what? Maybe to 50%, like this. Okay, so if I do that, and okay, close this one now. Okay, I'm just gonna change this guy to form. Of course, you won't see anything right now, but then what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna bring in my form like this. Then I'm gonna bring in a section, say div.w3 section. Then I'm gonna bring in a label, and then I'm gonna say maybe full name, right? Go to round to have a round edge. Now I'm gonna give this, because I'm gonna access this with JavaScript, I'll give it a unique ID. I'll say full name. Okay, I'm gonna have this one now into 3 for email and phone number. So I'm gonna copy that, paste it. So I'm gonna change this one to email. I'm gonna change this one to phone number. Okay, but I want one more field, so I'm gonna change the type here to email, and then the ID should become email, right? Because IDs must always be unique. I'm gonna change the type here to tel, which is a telephone number, and then the ID becomes phone. The last thing I want to have is the gender, because I'm gonna do something with that gender later on. So it's just a way of so I can call this gender, and I want to use a select box. So I'm gonna close and delete this. I'm gonna bring in my select. Nope, that's not what I want. Select dot w3 select dot w3 border dot w3 round, right? So it's gonna create all the with the select with all these classes for me, and then I'm gonna give it a name. I don't really need a name because I'm not sending it to the server, right? I'm not sending it to the server, so I don't really need a name. But the ID, I need it because I need to access it with JavaScript. So I'm gonna change it to what, gender. Then I'm gonna have options here to create an item in the select box. You need the option tag. The value here should be nothing, and then the first thing here I'll say I can put something like this, say select your gender. Notice how I capitalize some important words like select and gender. The first letter I made them capital. It makes more sense this way. The next option is going to be the first the next option is going to be the male gender. So I'll say option again, male, and then here I'll put male. Then the next option will now be female. So I can write female like this. Now if I view this my form, I'm gonna have something like this centralized. Can you see that? I can have it in my container. I can choose to have a h1.w3 blue like this, and I can say a simple form like this, and then okay, I give it a padding, say w3 padding to create space around the text. Okay, so pretty much this is what I have now. The next thing, you can see my select box. This is my select box. All these are the options. This is the first option that says select your gender. This is the male option, and this is the female option. Next is I'll need my button, right? So I'm gonna have the w3 section, and then I'm gonna have I can have button dot w3 btn dot w3 round dot w3, let's say green, and then I'm gonna say add, for example. Okay, then okay, let's see what we have. Okay, my button is by the left. I want to take it to the right, so I'm gonna add w3 right. So now at the bottom here, I'm gonna have another I'm gonna have a table now. So I'm gonna say simple form, right? And I say, I'll just say friend list. Friend list like this. Then I'm gonna have a table, right? So I say table dot w3 table all. I'm gonna have the headings of my table now. Remember, I'm gonna be populating this table with what, the form, the values or the data from this form, right? So in that case, my table heading, I can have a t head like this. Then I can have a th like this. Maybe I can have an id. I can have this th id. Let's say full name like this. Email, phone, right? So next data is email, then phone, then what, then gender, right? Gender. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. Then the next thing is that I have my t-body. Remember, I'm gonna be using JavaScript to dynamically create my rows. So I don't need to bring in any rows here. Is whenever I click the add button, it will try to get all the content of this form and use it to create a new row in this table. So in that case, my t-body now, I'm gonna give it an ID and I'll say table data. Table what? Data. Now, every time I create a new row, I'm gonna add it to what? To table data. So there are many ways you can do that, but I'm gonna just add an on-click now. Say, I'm gonna add an on-click to this my form. Say on-click. Add. Oh no. Say store. No. Save. Okay, let's try save. So every time you click on you click on this button, it calls a save function. Now this save function, let's define it here now. Function save. Now this save function will be charged with the responsibility of going to retrieve the data in this form and then creating a row, a new row in our table. Okay, so to do that, already we have IDs in all our form inputs. Email has an ID, this has an ID, and this. So all it needs to do is to say declare a new variable. Say variable let's say full name is equal to document dot get element by ID full name dot what, value. Since it's an input and it has an attribute called value, all these our inputs, they all have an attribute called value that you can use to either get its content or set its content. So it's gonna get the value, the current value, and store it in this variable. So I'm going to copy this and duplicate it in 4 more places. So variable full name for full name, email, variable email for email to get email, variable phone to get the phone value, and the last one is gender to get the gender. Now there are 2 ways I can do. I can create a new row and simply call an append function to append it to this guy, right? Or I can create, I can make it looks a different ways I can do it. I can set to create an array and save these rows in an array, then call one function that always updates the table. So there are some different methods I can use to achieve the same thing. Okay, for example, I can say okay, create a new I can say var tr, that's table row, is equals to, then I can bring this backtick, the backtick character. Then in my backtick character I create a new row like this, a tr table row, then the first table data, close it. The first table data is my id, right? Okay, then I can bring this one down here, and I can bring this one, close my tr down here. So I can copy this one and duplicate it like 5 times because I'm gonna need it 5 times. Now since I have an id in my table, there have to be a way of getting the last id, right? So that if I have 5 items, then the next id is supposed to be 6. Well, the best way is to create an array. So I'm gonna use the array method now. Say variable data is an empty array, and so every time you click on the save, it just gets the content and put it inside this array. So then a different function will have to what? Do the updating of the table. So now I'm gonna create a new function now. Say function update table like this, and then I'll now do this, and then it can update the table. But then I'm gonna modify some things. So what I'm gonna do here now is to create a new object, say a variable tr is equals to, then all the content of these variables will be used to create an object. So to do that, I have the full name, so I'll have full name, or I can put it outside of the quote, say full name like this, should be full name like this. Then I can do this for all the others, all the other 4 like this, but then there will be a comma here, so I can copy this and duplicate it 4 times. Then I'll go to the second one, I change it to email. I go to the third one, Ctrl D, phone. I go to the the fourth one, Ctrl D, gender, like this. Then the next thing is that I'll push it into my data. So I say data.push. Remember the push function when we were treating array? What am I pushing inside? The tr. So this is an object, and then it is being pushed into what? Into this array. Okay. So at the end, I'm gonna call console.log data so that we see how the data is being formed. I'll stop here for now. I'm gonna refresh my browser. Good, this is what I have now. Whoops, why do I have this button like this? Let's look at our HTML. Where do I have that button? Here, I have the button here, and I have my friend list here, and then I'm having this. So what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna bring this guy out of this place, and I'm gonna put it in a div.w3 container and see, and then I'm gonna paste this and then align it well, save it and refresh. That solves the problem. Okay, now I'm gonna open my console here, and then I'm gonna fill in my form, and you want to see the data array starting with myself. Let's say mazai@yahoo.com, phone number say 0903, gender, and definitely email. So I'm gonna save this one now. What happened? My form is refreshed. So now to prevent the form from being submitted, what happened is that the form is submitted and it costs a refresh, And because we didn't specify an action in our form element, the form is submitted to itself, right? And so it caused a refresh, and then our our data is gone because the page has been refreshed. Now, to solve that, we'll simply add a type to our button and make it what? A button. So that solves the problem. So since it's a button, it doesn't refresh what? It doesn't refresh our form. So now I'm gonna bring in my first again data. This one, my phone number, my gender again is male. I say add, and then it keeps adding. Uh, why do I have them up to 3 already? Okay, let's see. Let's refresh. Okay, so this is what I have. I said I have male. I have this one. I have my phone. I have my gender, and I say add. Good. I have only one item, right? You can see. So this is the data. It's an array, and inside the array, the first item is an object, and then we have our email, the full name, the gender, and the phone number, which is an object. So this array has one object. If I keep adding, now I have two objects. I have 3 objects like that. So all I need to do now is create another function that will always pick this array and refresh our table with it. So to do that, you come to our table here, and we've created this, but we have to loop, right? So that's what we need to do. We can loop in so many ways. So but we're gonna stop here today, and we'll continue on part 2.